Good morning, everyone. How are you today? Is everything fine? Okay, today we have a new selection. We are going to start lesson 2 in Journey's hardcover. So today we are going to start a new selection. My selection today, we studied before together the selection What's a Pal, and What's a Pal was informational text. If you still remember, I'm going to remind you with the first selection we took. We took What is a Pal? This was my first selection, and I told you that this selection is informational text. The genre of this selection is informational text. Why? Because it gives me information about real things. Okay? It was talking about friends, and it was talking about what friends do with each other and what friends can, how do my friends help me, and what we can do together. Today's selection is another selection. It's lesson 2. It's called The Storm. Let's see. If you have the book, you are going to open the book to page 42. You are going to open the hardcover book to page 42. Okay, let's see here. This is my selection. This is my selection. I have here, I told you before that any selection, I should have in my selection the title of the selection, the title of the book. Any book or any story has a title. So I have a title. It's always written with a big handwriting like this. So The Storm. The Storm. Written and illustrated by Raoul Colomb. So, written and illustrated. Written means the one who wrote this selection, the one who wrote. So, written means the one who wrote the selection, the one who thinks of the selection and wrote it. Here in this selection, if I look at the picture I have here, this picture, do you think this picture is a real picture or it's someone drew this picture? Someone drew the pictures. Look at the man. This is not a real man. This is someone who drew this man. Someone who drew this car. Someone who drew this house. So that's why he is telling me here, written and illustrated. Illustrated means that someone drew the pictures. Because if I go back to What's a Pal, I want to tell you the difference. I want to tell you the difference between illustrated and photographed, okay? Here, he told me in this selection, written and photographed by Nina Cruz. So, written, the one who wrote, photographed, took the pictures like this. These are real pictures for real people. But the story we are going to talk about today, it's not a real story. It's not a real story. It's someone who thinks about a story to write it. Like as if my baby son, he wants to sleep and he told me, Mom, please, can you please tell me a story? So I don't have a story in my mind, so I'm trying to think of story. So I tell him, one day there was a man who blah, 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 and then I can guess or I can think about a story from my mind. So my story today is like this. My story today is like this. So that's story. This story is, what's the genre of this story? Is realistic fiction. Realistic fiction. What's the meaning of realistic fiction? Realistic fiction means it's a story that is made by made up story that can happen in real life. Like, I will tell you something. If I tell you, when I was walking in the street, I saw a man holding many bags. So I went to help this man and he told me thank you. Then I went to the supermarket, I got some chocolates, and then I go home. I tell you a story. This is what happened yesterday. So, is the events of my story can be real? Can be real? If I tell you, one day there was a girl who is very cute and very polite, and her mom told her to clean the house, and when she cleaned the house, her mom gave her a present. So, do you think this story can be a real story? Yes. Why it can be a real story? Because the events of the story can be real. A girl can really clean the house, and her mom can really give her a gift, right? But if I tell you there was an elephant who lives in a big house, then the elephant wake up in the morning and he went to the school carrying a bag with a lunchbox. Then the teacher told the elephant, why did you come late? So, do you think this story can be real? No, this story cannot be real because the events of the story are not real. The events of the story cannot be real. The elephant doesn't go to school. The elephant cannot carry a bag or cannot carry a lunchbox. So, all the stories that are realistic fiction, the events of the story itself can happen in my real life. It can happen in my real life. Okay, so this story, the story I'm going to read today, it doesn't happen, but it can happen. It doesn't happen. It's from the mind of the writer or the author, the one who wrote the story. He invented this story. But can the events happen? Yes. Why? Because the events can happen and also the characters or the people in the story can be real. Okay, we will see the characters. Characters are the people or the animals in the story. Let's read, take some information about the writer. Here, Raoul Colon, as a little boy in Puerto Rico, Raoul Colon was often very sick. So this is the author or the writer, and he told me here that he often sick. He becomes sick many times. So he spent a lot of time inside. I cannot read like this. Of time inside drawing. So because he was sick, so I think he didn't go to school all the days. And when someone is sick all the time, he can stay at home for too much time. He's staying at home. So what was he doing at home? He was drawing. He was always drawing pictures while staying at home. He even made his own comic books. Comic books, it's the books that when I read it, I laugh or it makes me happy. So the comic books are books that when I read these books, I smile and I laugh and I become happy. It's comic. It's something funny. Like when you watch Tom and Jerry and you start to laugh because it's funny. Okay? So today, Mr. Colon lives in New York and works as an artist and a writer. So now, what's his job? His job is that he is an artist. Artist means that he draws pictures, and a writer, the one who writes stories. Okay? So this is about the author and illustrator. And I told you before that sometimes the story, there is only one person who made the story. The same person who write the events is the same person who draw the pictures. Okay, so you will find written and illustrated by one person. Another stories you will find the one who wrote the story is not the same one who drew the pictures. Okay, is not the same one who drew the pictures. So you will find written by, for example, Raoul Colon and illustrated by Nina Cruz, someone else. Okay, let's go to my selection. My selection here is called The Storm. What's the storm? What's the meaning of the word storm? Storm means that the weather is not good. The weather is not good. The weather is bad. So it's raining. I can see the rain. It's not sunny. It's the sound of the wind like this. So this is storm. So what's the storm? The storm is when the weather is not good, like today. Today's weather is good. But in winter, sometimes we find that the weather is very bad. Okay? And you will find that it's raining, it's not sunny, all the trees are moving from the wind. So I can see here in my front page, that this is supposed to be the front page of the story, I can see an old man. Do you think this old man is grandfather or dad or who? And I can see a car and I can see a house. And this old man is holding an umbrella. Where do you think this old man going? Where? I think this old man, maybe he is going to the house. Because he He is looking with his eyes to the house. So let's see what will happen. Okay, I want to make it like this so you can see. Okay, so Pop has come in. Look, he is wet. Tim and Rip ran to him. So that's why I'm telling you, the front page, I have in my front page that the old man is going somewhere. He is going to the house. So look, they opened the door for him and he came inside the house. And he's opening his arms in order to give a hug to one of those people. So I have here Pop. So this man is called Pop. Has come in. He comes inside the house. Look, he is wet. What's the meaning of wet? Wet is like when I have the water and when I put some water in the tissue like this, so the tissue becomes wet. And if I make my hand so that my hand is wet, there is water in my hand. Okay, so this is the meaning of wet. Why is Pop wet? Why do you think he is wet? Very good, because it was raining outside. Because it was raining outside, so all his jacket and his clothes became wet. So he came inside. I think this is his family. Maybe this is his son or this is his daughter. And this is his grandson and the dog. And the dog is carrying a red ball in his mouth. So Tim and Rip ran to him. Who ran in the picture? Who ran in the picture? Tim and Rip. One of them is Tim. I don't know who is Tim and who is Rip. So we will know from the story. So do you think they are happy that he came? Yes, I think. All of you or all of us, when we see our grandmother and grandfather, we become very happy to see them, right? Okay. I think mom and dad are going to a place. Because look, if you look at this picture, you will see that mom is holding a jacket or a coat. It's not jacket, it's a coat. And dad also is holding a coat and they are wearing like this. And I don't think mom and dad, they wear this clothes when they are staying at home. So they are wearing this because they are going out and grandfather or Pop is coming to stay with the boy and the dog. So let's see. Look at this page. Tim, Rip, and I think Tim is the boy and Rip is the dog. And Pop have fun. They have fun because look, he is playing with them. Look, he is holding the ball and he is playing with them. He hanged here his coat and his hat. And look at that he put on his coat and he is looking to them. I think he is going out. Okay? Then Tim had to go to bed. So he is giving him his pajama and he is telling him, look, the time, it's 8 o'clock and this is the time to go to bed. Look at the boy. Do you think the boy is happy or sad? He is sad. Why do you think he is sad? Because he wants to play with Pop. He likes to play. Like every time you go to your grandmother or your grandfather and then your dad or your mom tells you, it's time, we have to go home. So do you feel happy or you feel sad? You want to stay with them. You want to stay with them, right? Okay. Tim put on his pajama. Okay? So, but he couldn't sleep. What did Tim and Rip see? What did they see from the window? Look, like when you feel cold, you make the blanket or the quilt, the quilt, you make it like this. He's looking to the window and he is afraid. Why are they afraid? Look at the window. Because there is a storm. And the storm, this is lightning, this sound. So he feels afraid. He is afraid. He is frightened, okay? He cannot sleep. So what did he do? Look, Tim hid in his bed. Rip hid too. He make like this and he covered his face because he's afraid. So he covered his face, and also the dog did the same. Okay? Did the same thing because they are afraid. Who came to him? Pop. Look at his face. I think he's kind, he's good. Look what Pop had for Tim. He bring to him a cup of water. When someone is afraid or is not feeling well, it's better to give him some water. Okay, it's better to give him some water. So look what Pop had for Tim. Tim had a sip. What's the meaning of sip? This is my water. If I want to have a sip like this, I took 3. So, sip. What's the meaning of sip? Sip means to drink like this. To drink a little bit, okay? So, he took a sip. He took a sip. Then, Pop had a hug for Tim. He had a hug for Rip too. So, he gave Tim a hug. And also the dog, he gave the dog a hug. So that's why I told you he is kind. Look, when someone is afraid, it's better, especially when he's a little boy or a girl, to hug him, to give him a hug, okay? In order to stop feeling afraid. The last thing Pop do is Pop sat with Tim and Rip. And what did he do? He read a story. He read a story for them. So, did they sleep? Yes. Did they sleep? Yes. Look, the boy slept and the dog also slept. Okay, so they slept. Okay. This is my selection. This is my selection for today. So, my selection for today is, what's the title of the selection? The title of the selection is The Storm. The Storm. Who is the author or the illustrator? Both of them the same person, Raoul Cohen. What's the genre? What's the genre? Is it does it give me information? Is it informational text? No, it's not informational text. It's realistic fiction. Realistic fiction. What's the meaning of realistic fiction? Realistic fiction means that this story can happen in real life. Okay, the events of the story can happen. It's not something fantasy or something imagination. No, it can happen. And also, if I look at the characters, I have how many characters in my story? The first one is Pop, character. Tim is a character. Rip is a character. Dad and Mom. Okay, so those are my characters. The people in the story. Where does the story happen? Where? What is the setting? Where? In which place? In the house, in the street, in the school, in the garden? Where? It happened? Super. It happened inside the house. In the house. Okay. Very good. So, what happened at the beginning of the story? What happened? If I will tell you that, if I will tell this story to my daughter or my son, how I will tell him? First, Pop came inside the house and it was raining. Then, what happened next? Pop played with Tim and Rip. Then, it was time to sleep. So, Tim went to sleep. But, did he sleep? No. Why he cannot sleep? Because there was a storm and he was afraid. So, Bob here did, is it Pop or Bob? Sorry. Pop. Pop here did 3 things. What's the first thing he did? Who can tell me? What's the first thing he did? Very good. He gave Tim water. He gave Tim some water. And what's the second thing he did? He gave him a hug. He gave him a hug. And what's the third thing he did? He read a story for him. So, he did 3 things. He gave him some water, he gave him a hug, and he read a story to him. That's why what happened at the end of the story, Tim and Rip can sleep now. They already slept. So when I'm saying any story or when I'm telling any story, I have something called sequence of events. We are going to discuss this later in another session, okay? Because this is another lesson. So I have sequence of events. Any story or when you are telling anyone anything, you have to make it in order. What did you do first? What did you do next? What did you do last? What happened first? What happened next? And what happened last? Okay? So this is my story for today. And as I told you, you will find in all the selections, some words are highlighted with yellow. I'm going to read these words with you, just reading. And then I have another session where we're going to discuss these words together. The first one is the word he. He, when I am talking about a boy or a man, he is a boy, he is tall, he is my dad, he is my grandfather, he is a teacher, he is a doctor. What? What's your name? What are you doing now? What? I always start what. I always use this word to ask about something, to ask a question. For. This marker is for you. Okay? My mom cooked, or my mom made a pizza for me. She baked a pizza for me today, or a cake for me. Have. I have an orange bottle. I have a red marker. I have long hair. I have big bag. I have. When you own something, you say have. Two. This is a paper, and this is a paper too. I am happy. You are happy too. I'm in grade 1, and she is in grade 1 too. This wall is beige color, and this wall is beige too. So when two things are the same, or they have the same idea, I use the word two with double O. Look. It's easy words. Look. I look at you. I hope I can look at you and see you, my lovely students. Thank you very much for listening to me and for this session. Please, after you finish listening to this session or to this lesson, please read the story again by yourself and try to say it to one of your family members, your sister, your brother, your mom, your dad, anyone who can listen to me. Thank you very much. Bye.